Hey, how's it going? So I wanted to make this video for you because I am in an interracial relationship, and I also wanted to share with you everything that you need to know about dating someone outside your race. Hey, it's Lylian here, and I am a dating and relationship coach, and I help single alpha women succeed in love. So if you're an alpha female who's seeking love, you are in the right place. So stay tuned. Okay, so a little bit about me and my partner. So I was born in Guatemala and was raised here in Canada. My family moved here when I was 10 years old. On the other hand, my boyfriend, he is Caucasian and he was born and raised here in Canada, but his parents are, his dad is German and his mom is Ukrainian. So for Christmas, I get to eat pierogies and he gets to eat tamales. Okay, so joke aside, even though we both feel very much Canadian, we obviously have cultural differences, right? I have my Latin side of my culture and he has his more German, Ukrainian side. So there are things that we, that are very different from each other. So it's like sometimes it feels like they're two worlds. So in this video, I wanted to give you 10 of things that I have noticed, not only in my personal life, but in other people. So the first one is sometimes there can be a language barrier, especially if the person is very new to the country and they don't fully have a grasp of the language. It may become a bit of not a conflict, but a bit of a problem trying to understand them and they trying to understand you. So even though I moved here when I was 10, there are certain things that I say or the way that I communicate things that my Latin culture would, they would understand. Mark just has a hard time understanding that side of me, or some slang or some things that I say. I do speak a lot in Spanglish when I'm around my family. So that is another thing that obviously you have to remember, right? There's gonna be that sort of language barrier depending on how that person has learned the new language, or how young they learned it, or if they're just learning it. It may be even like a funny thing, right? Something that you both can joke around some of the pronunciations, or it can be a very fun experience. Even for us, there are certain things that I pronounce a certain way, and then it's just a little bit of a joke around, between us. So that's a really cool thing to have. And him trying to learn Spanish, learn a few words in Spanish, and hearing his more English accent is quite funny. So we both have a good time learning from each other. And so that's the first one I just want to mention, is the language barrier. Okay, so number two. So the number two things that I found is that the sense of humor can be quite different. So depending on where your guy is from, or it's like a cultural thing. For example, Mark, his German side, their sense of humor is very European, very different versus my more Latin side. And so they both have a little bit of the same sort of humor, but they can be different. So you have to be mindful of that, where maybe someone is also more sensitive to some of the jokes. So you kind of have to be mindful of where they come from, and that is their sense of humor. They're not trying to be mean or anything. That's just how they express themselves, and that's the way, that's their sense of humor. So you can always let them know, obviously, if they have crossed the line and it's no more a funny joke, but it's something that's maybe more hurtful in a way. Okay, number three, be prepared to eat different food and have a whole adventure with it. So when I go over to his parents' place, they eat a certain food, so it's more like cheeses and pierogies and stuff like that. And then when he goes over to my parents, it's more of the more Guatemalan food. And so we eat tamales for Christmas, and we have enchiladas and all those things. So you are going to just be aware that obviously you are going to experience different types of food, and just be open to that, which I actually absolutely love pierogies and I love all these amazing food that his mom makes. And we have tried even different restaurants. I've been open to trying new restaurant because of him and his culture. And so just, that's something that you can keep in mind, that you will be trying all sorts of different food. Okay, number 4. How people date can be a very cultural thing. So some people are very, in my culture, the Latin culture, they're very like romantic and very loving. And so in the very beginning of a relationship, they just like, pour you with love and affection, attention, and it's all about you. And then in the more European way, they are different, right? And so they are more of like getting to know you, getting to know your values and all these other, things that they see as the way of dating someone, right? Of getting to know that person. So there's 2 different like types of or like many ways of people how they date, but just, know that the way people date could be actually very cultural. So if you happen to, go on a date with someone and it's very odd, it could be just a cultural thing, right? So just be aware of it and go with the flow and see how it goes, and they can teach you something, which is great. So I know a lot of like other friends where when they have dated someone who's like Latino, they love it because they are very much like lovers and they want to pour you with love and attention and all these things, right? And they're very romantic. So if that's what you're looking for, that's definitely something that you could look for. But anyway, so that is number 4. Okay, so number 5, and I actually having experienced this, but I'm sure a lot of people have, and that is that he may be open to dating outside his race, but his family is not. So be completely aware that this could be maybe even a deal breaker for you, because not every family is very accepting of having someone from another culture come into their family. So that is something that you have to be mindful of. And also know that, if you see yourself potentially, being with this person, the family also kind of comes with that package. So know that not only the family, but the culture as well, right? So just be aware that that could also happen. But, normally I find that people are very welcoming and very loving. And if this guy is like this sweetheart, this amazing guy, then that means he also comes from a beautiful family who are going to be loving and accepting of you. Okay, so number 6, I want you to know that other people may stereotype you and you may stereotype others. So try not to do that, because everybody is their own unique person. And, even though they're, because they come from a certain culture, you think this is who they are, you may be wrong. So get to know the person for who they are, not because don't make assumptions just because they are from a certain culture. So one example is myself. So Mark in the very beginning thought that I was very much Catholic and that I was very religious, based on because I was Latina, but I'm not. I am not Catholic at all. I've never been baptized. I've never actually gone to a Catholic church. I've never practiced. That's what I mean. I have gone to a Catholic church, but I never practiced. I'm not even religious at all. So that you have to be, obviously aware. So try not to stereotype anyone, and also just know that people will try and stereotype you, but try not to do that to others. Okay, so number 7. So number 7 is, be respectful of each other's cultures and be open about trying new things, because you may be surprised. Sometimes you think, oh, I'm not gonna like that, but then you try it and you love it. So be completely open and be respectful of each other's cultures. That's the best way to really connect with another person, and you are going to experience so much more if you're open about things. So if you're someone who's very scared of trying new things, date someone who's outside your culture, and they're going to open up your eyes in so many ways. Okay, so number 8. So be ready to explain things to him, even though to you it's like so normal. Because the difference in culture, obviously maybe some of your rituals, your food and all of that, or just in general routines even, it could be very cultural. So be aware that you are going to have to explain some things to them in the way you do things, because to them it's like a completely different world, and vice versa. You know, you may have a lot of questions to ask, and really understanding the other person. Try to not be judgmental or criticize them. Try to be more curious about like why they do the things they do and why is that important to them, and so on. So I think that is one of the biggest things that we have, Mark and I have done, is of being more, you know, curious about each other's culture and really trying to understand each other's cultures, and that has given us like a more interesting life, because it creates more adventure for the two of us. Okay, so number 9. Know that the way you travel may be different based on your culture. Okay, so what I mean by this is that, like, for example, I love to travel to, let's say, Mexico or an all-inclusive, while Mark loves to experience the authentic thing. And so there are, you know, obviously different ways. He sees it as an adventure. I see it as, well, I've been there, I've done that. Now I want something different. So there's two, obviously, different ways of traveling, or many, I'm sure. But just be mindful, I guess, that they may travel differently. They may like to, you know, go camping instead of staying at an Airbnb, or they may like the more all-inclusive, like what I like, and you like to go camping. I don't know, whichever, you know, there's so many ways of doing things, so many ways to travel, but just, you know that there may be a different way of traveling, and be open for it. Okay, so number 10. The family dynamic is going to be different for the two of you. So for us, is my family is very close. We are a very close family, and my siblings are basically, you know, my friends. So we do a lot of stuff together. We see each other at least once a month, even more sometimes. And his family, they see each other once every few months, and they go out for like dinners and stuff like that, and like more like, you know, nicer, fancy like restaurants, and it's very different, right? It's just the way, you know, the way they are versus, you know, the way my family is. We just make an excuse to see each other, and that can also be a lot for some people, right? So be mindful of that, of how like your family dynamic is just gonna be different, and it's okay. You are both two different people who come from two different cultures and are trying to make something work together. Okay, so the last thing I want to say is, you know, if you are going to date someone outside your culture, if you're thinking about it, remember to, you know, just be patient and try to understand and seek to understand this other person, because you both come from different worlds. Basically, you both see the world very differently. So even within the same cultures, I find that people do see the world very different, even within the same culture. So knowing that, you know, you both have different experiences, different backgrounds, all of that is going to enrich the relationship that you have, the experiences that you have together. So I want to leave you with that, and hopefully, you know, you guys go out there and date different races and experience that yourself. Okay, so if you like this video, please make sure that you like it below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, as it really helps me. And if you have any alpha female friends out there that would benefit from my videos, please let them know about them, or, you know, send them my way. I really appreciate it. So until the next one, bye.